Welcome to the Well-Oiled Canine Podcast, where your dog's health is our top priority. I'm Dana Brigman, a canine nutritionist and certified holistic pet health coach, specializing in aromatherapy, homeopathy, and herbs. Join me on a mission to help your dog eat better, feel better, and live longer. Now let's dive into a world of natural pet care and discover the secrets to a happier, healthier pup. Visit me at welloiledcanine.com.
It's pretty soon. Hi, everybody. It's Dana and Angela from the two canine coaches that we are. And we're talking about fleas and ticks and heartworm season today. And then we're going to move in to talk about the liver detox and why that's relevant this time of year. And then we're going to come back with another, it may break out into a second video, but for Angela to tell you how all this voodoo has shown up in her life with her dog and how it's true, how you start to see the things that we've been saying that feel foreign, and then they show up and it's very real how all this stuff works. So introduce yourself, my friend.
I'm Angela, and I am 456 canine coach, based up in Hampstead, Wilmington area, just a little bit north of my best friend Dana. And I am on the path to do what Dana does in my area, and hopefully we join forces soon and move her a little bit north as well.
Yeah.
But that's where everything came from. I was doing training, and just training is never the answer. So that's where we are.
That's how I got started too. I left corporate America, started training, ran into a couple of cases that I could not fix with obedience or behavior type training. It just wasn't working. And it put me on the path of nutrition and natural wellness and essential oils with some game-changing experiences. So we'll talk more about those stories in the future.
That's why we're coaches and not trainers.
That's right. So, and we coach the pet parent more than we do the dog in all things.
Yes, no matter what it is.
In all things. So today we're going to kick off a little bit about natural flea and tick. I saw an ad this morning where Seresto is kicking off this campaign and got this big, beautiful graphic of their 8-month collar, and it's 50% off, and how your dog doesn't need to be dealing with fleas and ticks. And then we see them on the TV this time of year, and people fall for it, right? We fall for the marketing campaign because it's in your face all the time. And they make it sound like what a misery it is if the dog winds up with fleas and ticks. And it's true. None of us want to experience that. None of us want that for our dogs or inside of our homes. But we don't have to go with those toxic products. So what was the thing, Angela, that led you to maybe change the approach with your clients and with your dogs over the last few years?
Where did it start? Before I tell you where it starts, I can tell you where it is now.
Okay.
I do get dogs that will show up with a collar. Or I'll get a foster dog and the paperwork says, oh, they got a 12-month Pro Heart injection.
Oh God, please no.
And I know. And the first conversation I have with them is I start out very kind. I'm like, look, this collar, I understand this is your method for protection. I said, while they're at my house though, they can't wear it. For multiple reasons. First of all, being exposing the other dogs to it.
Right.
Whether it's play or sleeping on the same bed or anything like that. I don't want the other dogs to be exposed to something that's got that level of toxin in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conversation usually leads into, well, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
And then that's where we go from there. And we talk about all the natural ways that you can protect them against flea and tick. And then eventually, if they come around to those suggestions, then we will jump into, okay, and here's what you can do for heartworms. Because heartworms is another a whole nother playing field. Like it is very dangerous if your dog contracts,
Sure,
heartworm
absolutely.
disease. But that's where I like to have the conversation start and see where it goes. And hopefully it leads into a completely different lifestyle because it sort
Mhm.
of organically turns into, oh, well, I could do this flea and tick stuff without all of this, high priced, synthetic ingredient type of chemicals to wow, I can change their food and help them. I can add natural supplements and do the same thing that I'm, you getting from this shot or, whatever it may be.
Right.
There's so much stuff on the market out there I feel like it's just to make taking care of your pet easy so you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. And convenience feels important to a lot of people, right? And I've been on the earth a number of suns and moons, and we were always taught we had to,
Yeah.
right? That you had to do this.
Yeah.
And I even saw a post from another holistic vet a week or so ago that says, why do you continue to treat a dog for fleas and ticks that does not have fleas and ticks, where there is no infestation?
Yeah.
You have no infestation in your yard and your dog is not infested. So why are you continuing to treat them? And it's just trying to plant that seed and make people think about it. So the idea is get your environment clean, right? And we can do that with diatomaceous earth and Wondercide outside. And if the dog's body is healthy, they don't produce the oils and the odor and the skin conditions that tend to attract fleas and ticks.
Mhm.
So for me, when I started this many moons ago, I was a little cautious, right? I was a little afraid because I was in a wooded area. Um, and I thought, oh, this is going to be bad. Well, the only tick I found that entire season I made the switch was on me, not on the dogs. It was on me. Fell in my hair out walking through the woods. But, I said to myself, let me back up. I had made the change of cleaning products. That was my first step into natural wellness. Got rid of the candles, the plug-ins, and all the cleaning products under my sink and replaced that with Fleas. So that was an easy transition to make. Then I thought, okay, fleas and ticks feels like an easy one to make. And what's the worst that would happen is we would wind up with fleas and I'd go back to the old way of doing things.
Yeah.
That never happened. I never had to go back because we just weren't experiencing it. So what I was doing at that time was spraying down the yard with Wondercide and sprinkling diatomaceous earth. And I would spritz the dogs with an essential oil spray just about every day. And then I started weaning away from that spray, right? I started adding garlic to the food in the summer, and we learned that we could add a boost of vitamin B if necessary, especially for those kibble feeders. So adding garlic, adding more vitamin Bs, those became natural deterrents. And then I eventually didn't have to use any essential oil sprays even, right? That just wasn't necessary. So my dogs have had nothing as it relates to flea and tick prevention in years, except for fresh, healthy foods.
Yeah. Same here. And instinctually, even before you and I connected and I started learning more about this lifestyle, I wasn't administering those monthly preventions monthly. I was
Right.
doing it seasonally. The science tells you how long the life cycle is of a heartworm,
Yeah.
as an example. So there's no reason to give your dog this in December when there's no
Right.
mosquitoes.
Yeah. So we're going to come to the heartworm discussion and dig into that cycle that you're talking about and why all that's important as
Yeah.
well. But you
But
know,
even flea and tick stuff, I wasn't, it was a summertime only thing. And I knew that they weren't getting anything in my yard.
right.
Say we went to a park or somewhere and did that, then yes, I would make sure that I didn't see anything visibly.
Exactly.
But I was already of the mindset that like this is too much.
Right.
And then I
And so
learned alternatives.
my clients are often resistant, and that's okay. I think I was resistant years ago too, right? Because it's change. Change is hard sometimes. But I tell them once you get your environment squared away and the dog is eating a healthy diet and we've got that covered, well, what then if you're going to a wooded area for hiking or to some public park or whatever, then those may be the times you make an essential oil spray and spritz them down for that outing. But now we're safe. We're not putting anything toxic into or onto their body. And we have to keep in mind that anything on the body is going in the body. And I think that's where a lot of people have some misconceptions. I went recently and met with a new client whose dog was having seizures. And I walked in and she's got a Seresto collar on. And I'm like, that's got to go. And we think that they're repelling. We think that it's repelling the fleas and ticks.
Right.
And it's not. We've lost Angela. It's actually a toxin that's making its way into your blood, the dog's bloodstream. And this is true for the Seresto collars, the orals, the topicals, all the things. The neurotoxin goes into the dog's bloodstream and it's just cycling through, waiting to be bitten by a flea or a tick in order to drink enough of that substance for that insect to die. Well, if there are no insects in your environment, you're putting a toxin in your dog's body for absolutely no reason. And then you do that enough years and you're going to run into some trouble. People have said to me, well, I've done it for years and never had a problem. Well, until you do, or until your dog develops some unexplained autoimmune issue or cancer or seizure or whatever may show up. Can we 100% say it's that? No, but I think it's a combination of and the compounding burden that we put on the liver.
A contributing factor. And a lot of times is overlooked when you're veterinarian and you are trying to troubleshoot, why did this happen to my dog?
Right. Exactly. So what can you do preventively? If you're in that transition phase right now, fresh foods, a little freshly grated garlic in the food in the summer months. And it has to be freshly grated. It can't be powder and it can't be built into a recipe because you would have cooked out the nutrient or the constituent that creates that repellent, right? But you just grate a little freshly grated garlic right on top of their fresh food bowl at feeding time. Some argue that it has to be every day. I got into a discussion who booted me out of a group last week because I said it does not have to be every day because it was never true for mine, right? But a couple times a week and whole food vitamins and minerals. And if you're feeding a kibble diet, then at least vitamin B, but I recommend feeding a whole food rounded vitamin mineral supplementation. That's generally all you need. And then you can make an essential oil spray out of lemongrass and citronella and cedar wood. Geranium is a natural tick deterrent. What am I missing from that? Lavender. So what am I missing, Angela? Citronella, lemongrass. Oh, and maybe a
Peppermint
little
too.
eucalyptus or peppermint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those, you can make a little misting spray that you keep beside the door and go, pss, pss, and it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to wet them down. Just a
Right.
little spritz out there and they are good to go.
And it
Or
works on you too.
100%, I use the same bottle. I probably get bit more than dogs do, to be honest with you. And if you're not yet oily, Angela and I can help you get started with that. And that's a great entry point is to make your flea and tick spray, and then you get a keys to the kingdom to unlock a lot of education with us. Or you can look at a product like Kin and Kind that you can order from my Amazon store. Do you have an Amazon store yet?
I don't. I use yours.
Okay, thank you. Share it with everybody. But Kin and
Why
Kind
fix what's not broken?
Kin and Kind is an excellent product. That's an essential oil base. I think it's under $20,
Yeah.
and it would deal with multiple dogs in your household all summer long.
Yeah.
And you.
They also have a great ear cleaner, by the way, that I
Yeah.
use every
I
day.
like their line of products.
Yeah.
I tend to have all the oils on the shelf in my living room, so I don't really have to go buy anything extra, but their line of products is great.
Yeah.
So, anything else you can think of with the fleas and the ticks?
Fleas and the ticks. Well, you mentioned treating what's safe to treat the yard. So diatomaceous earth is super cheap and super easy.
Yeah. And all you need is one of those little spreader things, you drop it down in there and the little push cart that spreads it out. And if you're going to be putting it out on a big area of your yard, then you want the dog inside and you want to wear a mask while you do it, because it is little particles of skeletal type things that can be very irritating if you breathe it in.
Yeah.
But once you've, put out that dust and let it settle for a few hours, you have no issues.
Yep.
Some people will put it on the dog. That is not my jam. It's
If I have if I
Okay.
have visibly seen a flea or two, I will dust the dog down.
Yeah.
But I dust them down, and then about an hour or so later, I make sure I wipe them down again so that they're not licking it off their paws or,
Right.
something like
And
that.
food grade would be safe to ingest. It's not going to harm them. We just, it's just not my approach to all of this.
I mean, DE is in a lot of your like dehydrated type foods and stuff. It'll
Sure.
have diatomaceous earth in it
Yeah.
because it will also help with intestinal parasites.
Right. The DE internally is not going to deal with an external flea and tick problem.
Right.
Right. It may work on intestinal parasites, like you said, but it's not going to fix fleas and ticks.
Yeah.
So, I thought of something else that I was going to say about that.
I don't have any pine straw at my house because pine straw is a breeding ground for fleas and ticks.
Facts. That is quite true. Yeah.
So don't bed your flowers in your garden with pine straw. Get something else to help eliminate the presence of the critters.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I don't remember what I was going to say. It'll come back in a few minutes and we'll be off tangent again.
I always remember something as soon as the call's done.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about heartworms. You want to start?
Heartworms. Yeah, don't fall for the hype. The life cycle of a heartworm is not 30 days. It is longer. So even if you choose to treat your dog seasonally, it doesn't even have to be every month. Think
Right.
think big picture so that you're not
Right.
overdoing anything. Because even if you're doing an ivermectin dosage on your own, it doesn't have to be every month, every other month. And during season is when
Right.
I'll use it.
Yeah.
For my
So
older dogs, they don't get ivermectin. I'll admit it.
who?
Like Gouda, and she doesn't get ivermectin anymore.
Right. Yeah, same. So the life cycle of a heartworm is 6 months, right? And what has been studied and found is regionally based, but it's pretty simple to break it down based on temperature. So it takes 45 consecutive days of temperatures that do not fall below 57, some will argue 55 degrees. So let's say 55 degrees. If at any point over the next week or two, we fall below 55 degrees, even for just a few hours of the day or overnight, that cycle is reset. The mosquito cannot move the microfilaria from one infected animal to another. Okay. So once we hit that 45 days, then I usually wait 6 weeks and make my first dose. And the reason I wait is we're working in arrears. We're working on what has happened prior to the day we administer the dosing. And so I think that's a misnomer, a misunderstanding that we've all been led to believe over the years, is that we're preventing our dog from getting infected.
Right.
We're really not. The microfilaria implantation is still possible, and many dogs walk around with that microfilaria. And what we're trying to do in the modified protocol is prevent it from becoming an adult, prevent it from coming to that next level of development within the dog.
Yeah.
So as long as we interrupt that cycle and prevent it from becoming an adult heartworm, then we're good to go. And we know that we can interrupt that within that 6 to 8 week cycle of administration of ivermectin, or I call it Millie Bison, but I don't think that's the right pronunciation. So there are some dogs that cannot take ivermectin. There's certain breeds that can't have that. If you go to my website and download the guide for heartworm protocol, for seasonal heartworm protocol, all of this is detailed in there. And then it tells you how much to give your dog if you're going to be giving ivermectin. And basically you can go to like Tractor Supply or Amazon and order sheep drench. It's actually a pour on product for livestock. And it's 0.8% is the percentage of ivermectin that we're looking for. And then it's 1/10 of 1 cc per 10 pounds of body weight. So Poppy at 50 pounds would get 1/2 of a cc, or 0.5 cc's, or 0.5 milliliters. It's the same measure. Just in a needleless syringe, we pull that amount out of the bottle of sheep drench, and squirt that into her food. We're done. Nothing else to consider. And so a bottle of sheep drench would basically treat a whole house full of dogs for the next 3 or 4 years before the product expires.
Yes.
Right? And cost you about $50. Now, your vet will resist all the things that Angela and I just said, right? They're going to tell you, no, you got to do it monthly. And of course, if you get into any altered schedule, even if you stick with heartworm and you just dose it on an alternate schedule, that warranty, that guarantee that they make of if your dog develops adult heartworms, they would treat it for free. The manufacturer would treat it for free. Obviously that's all gone. But the reason they can offer that is the risk is extremely low.
Yeah. I have heard of it happen one time.
I have too. But I think there was probably more to the story.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway.
This was actually a case of a dog that had heartworms.
Right.
And they did what they call the slow kill method.
Correct.
It's just administering a monthly preventative for a certain period of time, and they should test negative, and the dog didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually did come back and honor the guarantee and paid for the dog to have heartworm treatment. It was a rescue dog.
Yeah. And so once we administer the ivermectin or Millie Bison, you want to give it, like if I gave that today, I'm going to let it do its work for 24 hours. And then tomorrow, I'm going to give a dose of milk thistle. And again, that milk thistle is liver supportive, liver protective, we insulted the liver with a toxin and we want to give it a little bit of care. And that's
The body
frankly all I
absorb
do.
let the body absorb what it needs, and what's
Right. We
left
want
over
it to kill
gets.
off. We want it to kill off that microfilaria. We absolutely want it to do that. But the dose is so low, right? So low. And we're only doing a one dose. We're not doing like we're treating mange or, is it, well, Demodex is mange.
Yeah.
But I had a dog with mange one time, a foster that came in, and we had to use ivermectin. And like every 3 days, we increased the amount until it was more than her body could handle, and it about killed her.
Wow.
Yeah, big Dane collapsing on me. I'm like, holy crap, what do I do now? So you're calling in reinforcements to help me get her to the vet. But yeah, that's a whole different conversation. And then there are people, and I'm thinking about trying it myself this summer. There are essential oil protocols that are preventative to parasites that are not intestinal. So, other questions about heartworms? Oh, let's talk about ProHeart. Why don't we like it?
Just the thought of putting something inside your pet that is supposed to work for 12 months, that means you have to give them such a high dosage that it's going to remain in their bodies for 12 months is terrifying. If I'm not going to do it to myself, I'm not going to do it to my dog.
Right. Yeah. There's a vet here. There's two actually that I get high blood pressure every time I drive past them. One has this huge banner out front that says, one injection is all you need. And they're talking about ProHeart. And then the other one has this little neon sign that rotates and has different things blinking on it. And it's vaccines and ProHeart and Seresto. And I'm like, oh my God, all the poor dogs that are in that clinic.
I mean, they don't, how drug commercials for humans, they list the big side effects. They don't do that for animal products on television, but pull up the side effects of something like ProHeart. One thing that I've actually seen in person is aggression from a ProHeart injection. And it was horrible. Like it wasn't even a minor aggression. It was this dog was trying to bite his owner.
Yeah.
And that's just terrifying
Right.
that it's okay to do something like that to our pets.
Right. And so that goes back to you and I coming at this from a trainer's point of view and saying, why is the aggression here? There was a point that I would have never connected any of these toxins or the burdens on the liver, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it is. Chinese medicine tells us that aggression or anger lives in the liver. So we accumulate enough burden there, we're bound to see some behavioral changes.
Yeah.
And I remember as I started learning all of this and talking, there was a very active at one time Facebook group of trainers, and going to a workshop and me talking about essential oils and stuff. And they're like, they thought I lost my mind. Right. And so there's a lot of that still out there, and I get it. You have to see it. You have to experience it, or at least be willing to try it so you can see it before you believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I got a lot of pushback from trainers, but I absolutely believe that there is a connection and a relationship for all of this and how that comes together.
Yeah. Humans too. Think about it. A lot of adults, and I don't know any statistics or anything, but think of your average adult with liver disease. A lot of it you hear comes from alcohol abuse. What goes with alcohol abuse? Aggression, anger. Like they're all connected in some way.
Right. Yeah. When I started with essential oils, I was going through an aromatherapy class. I was a trainer already, and we had homework assignments, right? And one of them was to pick an essential oil to use on our own person for some intended purpose. Well, I was hearing about this aggression lives in the liver. I've been known to have attitude. I've been known to be a little hot-headed at times. And really, yeah, all of that is true. So I chose a liver detoxifying essential oil. And every day for 28 days, I applied that essential oil over my liver. I didn't say anything to anybody but the people that were in my class, but I didn't tell any family members or friends. Hold on. Alexa, stop. I didn't tell anybody. And friends and people that I know about 2 weeks in said, I don't know what you're doing differently, but please do not stop. So there was a noticeable change.
Yeah.
A noticeable change in how quick I was to react or snap. And I tie that back to how a dog snaps and reacts and gets all fired up about stuff that we look at and go, why are you pissed off? I mean, there's nothing here, you know?
Yeah.
But it is all intertwined.
Yeah.
It's all related.
All of it. Everything in TCM is so relevant to something if you just stop and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Kidneys and anxiety.
Yes.
We're dealing with that.
Yep. There's a whole chart, and I have all of this that I'm starting to share in the community forum that I really wish people would just go sample, just go experiment with what's out there, because it's pretty powerful. And I promise you, it's not going to be free for long. It may become a class that I teach, you know, in a formal way. But right now, all of my clients have access to it.
It's the Encyclopedia Britannica of natural pet wellness.
Yeah. It brings all stuff together. Now, it's not complete. It will never, ever be complete. And I add new stuff to it every day, but it's pretty fascinating. So, with that in mind, why don't you tell us a little bit about Gouda and what you're experiencing with her?
Yes, a lot. So, to put it into perspective, last summer, June, she was diagnosed with renal failure. Stage 2, made it up to stage 3 renal failure sometime towards the end of the summer. But that's when we had really started amping up supplements and making sure we were compensating all the other areas of the body. And throughout the course of this, once you start getting the kidney levels under control, then you have to make sure everything else is still in sync. And
Mm-hmm.
so for the second time, just recently, she had what's called a vestibular attack. And it's neurological. Some people call it old dog disease even, because some dogs experience it pretty frequently. But a few weeks ago, I guess it's been about a month ago now, we were getting up to make her dinner, and Gouda's a very calm, like she doesn't have a lot of, she has anxiety now because of the kidney disease it's developed over time, but in general she's a very calm, go with the flow, whatever you want type of dog, doesn't get upset about stuff. And so I was getting up to make her dinner, and she, out of nowhere, just started screaming, making noises I've never heard her make in the 10 years that she's lived with me.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very confused and agitated. So if there's like a storm or fireworks or something, her response to that type of stimulus is to be agitated, panting, but it's to hide, to flee. This time she was not hiding. She was actually going to the front door, trying to get out the front door, which is a behavior she's never ever done in her entire life as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I panicked a little bit, but it's 4:30 in the afternoon. Everything's getting ready to close up until the next day. So I said, okay, we're gonna calm you down. I'm dumping essential oils on her. She did not want her dinner, which is problematic because she has a lot of things she has to take at mealtime to keep her body regulated. So we struggled. We sat up all night long and she was very upset. She didn't really calm down. We get to the vet the next day, they work us in. And my first thought is that she's in organ failure. Because when you're dealing with kidney disease, it comes on pretty quickly, and the
Right.
progression is usually, a very acute disease. So that I'm going into this with the thought that we've reached the end. Her body is giving up. We run the blood work. We just do a quick in-house blood panel. Her kidney values have improved from the month before. So we're all just kind of sitting there with our heads tilted going, okay, now what do we do? Because if this isn't her kidneys, then what is it? What has caused this reaction, this behavior? And we're going, I did it the night before. The vet does it. She does a full physical exam. We're palpating her everywhere. No signs of a pain anywhere when you touch her. She looks and feels great. And then we start talking about what kind of tests can we run. And my vet says, let's do a urinalysis. And I look at her, I'm like, well, she pees a lot. Like nothing's changed. She has kidney disease. She drinks and she pees a lot. She was like, no, trust me, let's do it. So we did a urinalysis, and her urine was full of bacteria and blood and white blood cells. So she had a UTI. And that's when the light bulb moment clicked. And she related it back to, and I haven't had um, grandparents or anybody grow into their, live into their older ages where they get UTIs and you see it present itself as aggression and mental agitation and stuff like that. So I've never seen it firsthand. So I never even thought about it. It wasn't a thought in my mind. But she mentioned it, and those were the symptoms that Gouda had experienced the night before. She was confused and agitated. She probably was even experiencing some pain that she didn't know why or how. Like dogs can't say, this hurts. What can I
Right.
do? So they just react in any way they can to get attention or to just help themselves relieve that anxiety and stress. So she has a UTI. And I'm like, okay. I get back home, I'm thinking about it later. And one of the things that I always do, and it's because you taught me this, is when something's going wrong, whether it's emotional or physical, I pull out my circadian clock. And so I pull it out and I look at it, and 3 to 5 p.m. is when the bladder is most active. 4:30 was when the episode happened the night before. And it kind of gave me chills for a second, like, wow, like I've always done this and I've always recommended people do it. And I talk to people and I say, go pull up the circadian clock online and look at it. And there's never been a case where I say to do it and they do it, or I do it myself and it's right on target, like explained exactly what was happening. And that was an aha moment for me for sure. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I really am a believer now. Without a doubt.
Right.
It's not just voodoo. So we spend a week doing several different things to help get this UTI under control. Everything seems to be going better. We do a recheck, and her urine looks good. And so we're like, okay, good. We got rid of it. Everything worked. She's happy and back to herself now. Well, then that next week was when I mentioned she has this vestibular disease. So last Friday, I started noticing around dinner time that her head was tilting. And it alarmed me because of the first time this happened, it was pretty severe. It was a pretty severe vestibular event. She has vertigo. She can't stand,
Yeah.
she can't walk, she won't even lift her head.
And it's really scary. You don't know if they're having a stroke or a seizure or whatever.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it had happened once within the past 6 months, so I sort of saw the signs coming. So I see her head tilting when she's eating dinner. I was like, "You're making a mess. You're throwing your food everywhere." And she came away from her bowl, and her head's like, tilted to the side a little bit. And we're doing something on the couch with her, and she got like real stiff at one point, like she lost her balance, and that was a little unusual. Well, by bedtime, she couldn't stand. She had no balance at all. And so I started dumping the essential oils on her again, frankincense, copaiba, anything I could think of to try to just help her body like work through it. But by the next day, she couldn't lift her head. We were back to square one, but it's Saturday.
Mhm.
So I think back all the things that we had done previously. So we did some raindrops and we did a bunch of stuff to help her with the anxiety because when this happens, she's so confused about why isn't my body working.
Right.
And that's the hardest part to watch her just lie there crying because she can't do anything. She can't lift her head. And I have vertigo too. So I actually, to a degree, understand what's happening in her body. But so long story short, she has another vestibular attack on Friday night. We make it through the weekend. By Sunday, she's actually able to stand. And my first thought when all of this happened was the UTI's back.
Well,
Like
go back Friday. She was on the PMF mat, right? And you sent me a video of that shiver she had. Is
that
that
was
the same?
actually Monday.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
I don't
Monday.
even know what day of the week it is. Okay.
I was getting to that.
I'm sorry. I was out of
Um,
schedule.
Yeah, I restarted my UTI protocol. I didn't want to take her to the emergency hospital. They don't understand anything that I do with my dog. If you go to the emergency hospital and tell them you raw feed, they treat your dog like an alien. It's heartbreaking. So I didn't want to go that route. I didn't want to cause her any extra stress. So we deal with the anxiety. I start the UTI protocol over. I do give her some meds for the vertigo just because I was desperate and
Hmm.
I have them for myself. I do know like there are certain times when something is needed, right? We're
Oh,
never going
oh
to say
yeah,
don't do this ever.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um and so we made it through the weekend. Sunday, she's getting around a little bit on her own. Monday, she was doing really good. We had acupuncture and chiropractor adjustment scheduled for Tuesday. I had her on the PEMF mat on Monday, which has been on the couch since this started. Every time she's on the couch, I turn it on, let her go through a cycle. But she was lying there and she started getting that quiver in her shoulder. And so another point of perspective is she has to lay on her left side because that's what her whole body is leaning that way right now. So it
Hmm.
was her right shoulder that started quivering. And I took a video and sent it to Dana immediately. I was like, have you ever seen a dog have this type of reaction from, the PEMF therapy or whatever? And of course, Dana is like, no, there's something else. Think about it. So that could be pain. What do we talk about? Pain,
Pain, anxiety, and was she
anxiety,
cold?
and cold, yes. And she's dealing with all three of those things. We
Mhm.
know that. And it was just really interesting to see her body showing the signs through presenting themselves that way. And then I took a picture of her eye because I noticed this fleck of white in her eye. And Dana's been doing a lot of work on iridology. And she texts me back immediately and says, lungs, ribs, like that's where she's shivering. And just another one of those moments like, okay, this stuff is real. Like her body's giving us all the signs, telling us what's wrong,
I
what's
have cold chills
happening.
thinking about this, especially when you get to the next part. But go ahead.
Yeah. So the next day, Tuesday comes around, we go see our wonderful veterinarian. She does acupuncture and she hits some really deep acupuncture points that we've never done on Gouda before to try to pull that energy out of her head and upper body region and just get rid of it, disperse it to other areas of the body. And I could see, like, even during the procedure, the difference in Gouda during that procedure versus some of our other acupuncture sessions. Like, you could just really see much more relaxation. Like, she's always really good for it and she'll lay still. But this time, she just kind of like her body just went loose. And she hadn't been loose for days because of this vestibular stuff happening.
Mhm.
And then she did a chiropractor adjustment and noticed that she was really tensed up and, had to have a little bit more adjustment right behind her neck. So that's in the liver, rib type area. And I told her, I was like, yeah, she was shivering there when she was laying on the mat yesterday. And she was like, yeah, I could feel that she needed some work in that area. And so we did all of that on Tuesday. Yesterday, I noticed a complete difference in her. Well, even Tuesday evening, like we got home, she goes in the backyard and lays down and rolls in the grass. And this is something that she would have never been able to do battling this vestibular disease because she still can't walk in a straight line. She still is very much like her body is going to the left. But she was able to lie down and roll around in the grass and stand up and not fall over.
That's awesome.
Wow. Like this is really working, all of these things. And then today we did this morning I sent Dana a photo of her eye, the same eye that had the white fleck in it, and it's gone.
It's gone.
It's not there at
It's
all
gone.
anymore.
It's gone. When you sent it to me, I'm zooming in going, it's like, oh my God.
I took like 5 pictures to make sure it wasn't the angle or a
I
reflection or
know.
something.
I know. How amazing is that? I can't wait to share. I'm going to share it with the class that I'm in because I want them to see, you know, we're always, it's just fascinating
All of it.
that was visible in the eye. You then go look at the chart and it says, this is in this area of the body. She gets chiropractic and acupuncture and then that whiteness is gone. It just blows my mind.
I'll tell you one thing that it's really helped me deal with everything mentally because I know now don't overreact. Stop. Pay attention to the body. Let the body tell you what's wrong instead of just rushing out and doing tests and, uh, people want to just throw an antibiotic or an anti-inflammatory or they just want to throw meds at a dog when they don't know what's wrong. Like, just stop, calm down, let the body tell you what's wrong.
And try something different than the traditional way. I mean, like you said, there are many times we need medications and traditional veterinary care. But if we can take a step back, go, what are we seeing? What do we know? And work through some of this in a different way, the outcomes can be pretty amazing.
Yep.
And I wonder how many people would have or have gone down the path of, oh, she's got kidney disease. Oh, it's a UTI, antibiotics. Now we tear up all the good microbiome that we've been working hard to build, and all those progressions that you made with the improved kidney values are gone now.
Mm-hmm. And I've done all this extra damage to the liver.
And we blew it, right? We blew it. So I just hope people will walk away from this going, there may be something else to try that I've never considered before.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were myself and or you as well, like if something was wrong with us, we typically don't take the first answer and go with it. You a lot of times will get a second or even a third opinion on things. And that's kind of what we're doing with our pets when we
Right. But
get
how
a
many times have you ever
diagnosis.
stopped and taken a picture of your own eye? Right?
I don't know if I want to know what that picture's going to tell.
Yeah.
We take better care of our
It's
animals
crazy.
than we take care of ourselves.
Right. It's pretty fascinating. So, all right. Anything else you want to add to today?
No, I don't think so.
I think this is our best one yet.
Yeah, think twice about monthly meds. That's the bottom line. Just
That's
think
right.
twice. Think about an
That's right.
alternative. There is an alternative.
Yeah.
And if you're worried and afraid you're gonna dose something wrong call and ask, get help. You're not alone in any of it.
No. Mm-mm. All right. Well, this was awesome. Thank you for sharing that story with Gouda. I know that that can be a challenge and emotional sometimes, but you did great.
I'm getting much better at talking about it and not breaking down in tears.
Yeah, you did great. So anyway, for those of you out there struggling with anything, Angela and I are both available, and if needed, we'll collaborate with you guys, with each other and you guys and your vet. And that's one of the beauties of what Angela's doing is she's got veterinarians that are collaborative as well. So it's not just like me and her coming up with this, it's a whole team approach. And
Yep.
I love that. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us. And if you got a story to tell at some point, we'd love to invite you on. Or if you have questions, just let us know what they are and we'll cover them in the next presentation.
Have a great day.
Have a great one. I don't know how to, oh, there's my mouse. Oops. I don't want to end. I want to stop the recording. There we go.
Thank you for joining us on the Well-Oiled Canine Podcast. I'm Dana Brigman, a canine nutritionist, certified holistic pet health coach. I hope you found today's episode valuable and inspiring for your journey towards better health for your dog. Don't forget to visit me at thewellovedcanine.com and check out our members forum for lots of discussions, interactions, education,